G'day, Jack Murphy for the Captain Magazine here, and we've had one of the most epic seasons of Sydney on the Marlin this year, by our standards anyway. We're not game fishing gurus, but we've been out on 3 different trips and caught 3 different species of marlin. A black marlin, striped marlin, and a blue marlin. Now, this season is the sort of season where anyone has been out there catching fish. Little 4 metre tinnies with a couple of tiegras have been really getting onto them. Now, on our first adventure, we took an Arvor 675 sports fish, 50 nautical miles in pitch black. Now, we saw some awesome temperature breaks out at a spot called Nora Canyons, which is near Newcastle. And we also saw these great current lines. There was a lot of fast water running next to a lot of slow water. And when we arrived to the spot, as the sun was coming up, we actually found a 2-degree temperature break. It went from 24 degrees to 26 degrees. And so Trav and I looked at each other and we said, this is it. And literally 10 minutes later, we were hooked up.
Pretty colour. Oh! Got a tail. Yeah, baby! How pretty is it? Yeah!
Now this is where it got tricky. We hooked this fish on a Dialer saltist. It had 3 layers of backing on it, so it went from mono to braid to mono.
This little black here, maybe 60 or 70. Jack's doing me no favours here with a saltist. Getting some garage sale on the weekend. What the fuck is this?
Now, after about an hour and a half of fighting this fish, we knew something was wrong. We should have had him in the boat by then, and we hadn't. So the decision was made that the fish had to be tail wrapped, and we were going to plane the fish up onto the surface. Now, we did this by driving the boat forward nice and fast. Trav would hold onto the line as hard as he could, and then would back down on the fish. And we did this several times until the fish finally came up boat side.
And we're trying to surf him up. So I'm getting a bit of line back now. But it's a lot of weight on this small gear. It's supposed to be fun, isn't it?
He'd unfortunately passed away, and we had to bring him on board.
It's not my first black marlin, but it's the first I've ever killed. Well, I did kill it. It died during the fight and it was tail wrapped, so she came in backwards.
Now, the coolest thing happened when we brought this fish aboard. When he was next to the boat, he was so lifeless and dead, almost rigor mortis. But as we brought him on board and put him on Trav's lap for a photo, he just lit up into full attack mode. His pectoral fins went the most iridescent shade of blue with these beautiful white silvery flanks and a blue dorsal fin. It was so cool to see. Now, once we'd finished patting ourselves on the back from the black marlin day, we decided we'd take out a Whitley 22 Sea Legend and see if we could do it all over again. This stage, there was a much hotter bite in close between 70 and 80 fathoms of water. So we decided we'd just head out to that mark and just work around. There was a great little bit of current, fast water again against slow water, right near the bait station, just sort of off Long Reef. Now, I had a crew of Danny and a friend Katie as well, who had never caught anything bigger than a flathead. So we decided for the day, Katie was on the fish no matter what. So it was around lunchtime and the guys, Danny and Katie, were slipping off to sleep. We'd been working the 70 to 80 fathom line for a little while and the seas had completely glassed off. We thought, it's probably too good a day to catch a fish anyway. It was just nice to be out. Anyway, we stumbled across a pod of dolphins and sort of worked over towards them. They all started swimming around the bow, swimming through the spread, inspecting the lures. Took my eyes off them for a minute, looked at the wheel, and then the 30 wide just went off. I thought, 100% we have to have hooked a dolphin. This is going to be an absolute nightmare trying to get this dolphin off a lure. But anyway, I turned around and there's this huge striped marlin with a lure flying out of his mouth. And I just screamed and the guys almost shat themselves, it was so loud. Anyway, Katie grabbed the rod, she fought it for about 45 minutes and we had this beautiful striped marlin up against the Whitley. We even jumped in and had a swim with him. Pretty cool. Now the fish gods were smiling on us, so we thought, let's go out for a 3rd trip and see if we can pin another one. This time we took a 4.5 metre tinny and it was an absolutely beautiful day. Just perfect glass off, the ones you always dream about. Now, there wasn't much happening offshore, wide offshore. There was no temperature changes really, there was no good current on the shelf, so we decided to stay in close and work the inshore reefs. Now, there'd been a lot of black marlin caught around these areas and there was lots of bait in the area too. So we decided we'd just get some small lures, have a drag for some wahoo, mahi-mahi, or even these blacks. We started off working Broken Bay Fad, sort of moved towards Terrigal Fad. And sort of near Terrigal Fad, there's a great little bit of ground where there's 2 ocean pinnacles. And as we drove over the first one, that same little diver saltist from the black marlin adventure on the first time went off. And we thought, okay, it's gonna be a little black, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. But as the fish jumped, we saw it was a blue marlin. I think this marlin must have been lost, but it was a big blue and it charged the boat. Now, I was on the rod this time, and this blue marlin was absolutely out of control. He charged at the boat, and I was still picking up line from where he ate the lure and watching him jump behind me. There was so much line in the water, and I seriously thought we were going to get spooled in that first run. After a long slog, this blue finally came up beside the boat. It was just such a beautiful creature, and sort of seeing how amazing it was with its big bronze flanks, sort of paired with my relief of the fight finally being over, was just such an ecstatic moment. I had sort of blisters in my hands, I was just so sore all over. So we jumped in the water with the fish and took some photos. It was such a cool experience and definitely capped off 3 trips on the 3 different marlin.